Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be guiding you through the megastorm of Doctor Who promotion that's been going on recently. We've had posters, we've had trailers, idents, and even another leaked trailer from Disney. These trailers seem to get out there all the time, and another one has now leaked, and we're going to be going over all of that and more in just a second. But before I do, I just want to say Happy Mother's Day if you're in the UK, to all mums out there, shout outs to you. And also, I want to mention we're now in British summertime, so we've now experienced a form of time travel, I suppose. We lost an hour. I much prefer it when we gain an hour, so you get to sleep an hour longer, but still, a very, very mild form of time travel nonetheless. But let's just get right into it. Subscribe if you're new, that'd be greatly appreciated. So our journey begins with this trailer that was posted to the official Doctor Who socials on the 28th of March, 2 days ago now. Let's take a look. I think this kind of leaked before, but we'll go over it again. I think this was used basically as a BBC One ident type of trailer, but we'll go over it again.
This is a time machine.
To voyage on.
Won't you get me home, interstellar sun? What the hell is this? Beam attention.
So yeah, very, very cool. Not much to say with this, other than the one line I find very fascinating is, "I told you to get me home." Because the way she says it is quite violent, which I like, because it suggests, once again, that Verada is not going to be as willing as Ruby was, which is something I'm very much in favour of. I want to see a bit of that Tegan-esque tension between Doctor and Companion. I think that would be very welcome in this era. But other than that, there's not much else to say, because I think I've covered basically this trailer before. I love the visuals of, like, all the different things zooming in and out. Like, I love Mr. Ring-a-Ding kind of zooming out into space here. I all think it all looks very, very good, very, very clean. But this was just the start of the absolute blowout of Doctor Who promo that we've had over the last couple of days. Yesterday, we had a brand new poster for Doctor Who Season 2. That's tagline is "One hell of a journey home." It depicts the Doctor and Belinda on top of a sort of volcanic planet with Earth in the backdrop there, and another weird purpley planet in the backdrop as well. Whether this has any story relevance, I really don't know. I mean, the fact that Earth is in the corner obviously indicates that that's where they're trying to get to, but the thing I find interesting is, once again, we've got Ncuti in his Joy to the World costume, and Verada is once again wearing that kind of blue jumpsuit. So I'm assuming these are the two kind of costumes they're putting forward as the, I guess what you would call the marketing costumes, the two you're going to see on all the posters, which would also probably mean that these are the two we're probably going to get for the action figure releases, or at least, you know, one set of two. Maybe they'll do what they did last year, where we get two different sets. But I imagine this will be one of them, as this seems to be the promotional look. I mean, the 15 one is easy to do. It's just a colour swap of the shirt, basically. Maybe slightly different trousers and trainers. But yeah, and yeah, this poster looks very good. Here's also a widescreen version, courtesy of Black Archive Gallery. It just looks absolutely wonderful. It's really nice to see Doctor Who getting some good promotion, some good posters. The one thing I always find funny looking at this is seeing the sort of smoke come off their shoes on that volcanic planet. Realistically, if we're being technically accurate, their shoes would melt away immediately upon touching that lava, but you know, we don't need to worry about that. It's a really, really cool poster nonetheless. Probably one of my favourite posters in recent memory. The Season 1 posters weren't bad, but they felt a little bit generic. This feels like it has more of a story, more of a narrative to tell. This idea of leading Verada through the cosmos to eventually make it home. I think it's got a better hook to it. Does that make sense? We also had a bunch of kind of Instagram and TikTok clips courtesy of the BBC iPlayer socials, including this one, presumably from episode 1, which I'll play now.
Ladies, gentlemen, and all other life forms. Prepare for takeoff.
So it's obviously the Doctor trying to rescue Belinda from being blasted off into space towards Belinda Chandra 1, and obviously he fails, and obviously we also see that costume that he wore in some of the promotion last year as well. We also have this one, which is a brand new TikTok ad courtesy of the BBC iPlayer account, which will also play. It says, "POV, you're on the bus during rush hour."
Jump!
So interestingly, these are combining 2 separate episodes. Obviously, this looks like episode 5, which is the one with Anansi, I believe it's called, which is the spider god from African mythology. You've also got a bit of the well here, but also you've got a bit of the Interstellar Song Contest with this kind of, I'm assuming, anti-gravity kind of section, because obviously he's gasping for air afterwards, so I take it that means that, you know, he couldn't breathe out in space, which I guess makes sense. You might say that that's obvious, but my logic was maybe they've got oxygen out there, but they don't, it appears. And obviously the Doctor fainting was very good comic timing as well. Yeah, it just shows that they're really going all out with marketing. But what if I told you this wasn't even the start? We also had another one of those BBC iPlayer idents in between BBC programming, one of the themed ones. This one, I don't believe I've covered yet, was the Traitors themed one, so we'll give that a look.
This might be the wrong way round. Hold on tight.
Oh! Oh my god!
Linda!
Linda.
Doctor Who.
So, confession, I haven't seen the Traitors. I know, it's shocking, I apologise. But apparently Linda was a big part of the series in Series 1, like one of the big contestants. So I saw a lot of people who love the Traitors getting a huge chuckle out of this. Really, really seeming to resonate with a lot of people outside the Doctor Who base, which is good. It's what you want, and I think one thing I will say, just speaking personally, is that shot of the TARDIS reflecting off of all of the kind of fiery lighting, really, really pretty. That's the other thing I want to say. That's the analysis you come to me for. But yeah, we've also had a brand new set of BBC One idents in between programming. These have been happening all across recent days, starting on the 27th, and they've been happening basically ever since. The first one of note that I could find was during The Apprentice. Thank you to Matthew Purchase for finding all of these. Very much appreciated.
Hold on, what's the Doctor doing? He's facing one hell of a journey coming soon. Now, as project manager, I'm going to...
And then, yeah, it transfers into The Apprentice and they do a little skit about being project manager. But yeah, this is a really cool, clean edit. What's the Doctor doing there? All that sort of stuff. The only thing I find funny is that I imagine that for some people this might be very confusing. Like, they might imagine Doctor Who's on next, when in fact it is not. But nonetheless, I think this is really cool. It reminds me very much of what Flux was attempting to do a couple of years ago. But this, to me, seems A, much more tasteful, and B, much more obvious as to what it actually is. You know, very clear shot of the Doctor. You've got the announcer kind of saying, oh, what's the Doctor doing there? It's a very good way of reminding people that Doctor Who is on. And the thing I like about it is, once again, just the fact that the BBC are putting a lot more into this, it feels like. Now, they've really ramped up in the last couple of days, and it's nice to see. We also had this one before Homes Under the Hammer, which is the same basic premise, with the kind of BBC One circle in the middle. This time it depicts
Buckle up.
the
It's
Doctor
going to be
chasing
quite
the
a
ship.
ride. New series of Doctor Who lands here on BBC One soon.
So there you go. Very, very cool. And then there's another one. Yeah, there's quite a few of these. New BBC One Doctor Who ident. This one being from the Interstellar Song Contest.
He's bounced high on the trampoline to end up there, but...
I really like how they're kind of incorporating the kind of idents in the background as a means to kind of like make jokes about the idents themselves. It just makes it that much more fun.
Get ready. Doctor Who's new series lands here on BBC One soon. And he'd find a pointless answer.
Very, very cool. Yeah, so this obviously led into Pointless. Very, very cool. And then finally, the final ident, I promise. This one was shown just before the One show. It's the one from episode 5, the last one
Yes,
from
the
episode
Doctor
6.
could be dropping in before you know it. He's on a mission to get Belinda home coming soon. And this is coming even sooner.
So there you go. I really like these. They're clean, they're simple, they're effective, they remind normal people who are watching BBC One that the show's coming back. This is how it should be done, in my opinion. Simple, clean, to the point. Doctor Who's back April 12th. Watch it if you want. Very good stuff. Liking this a lot. I think the marketing has really, really found its footing in the last couple of weeks. Speaking of Season 2 though, on a slight tangent, the Doctor Who Season 2 Steelbook was officially dropped onto Amazon, including just regular DVD and Blu-ray editions of the series as well. And there was some confusion about whether it would include Joy to the World along with the 8 episodes that are featured in this series. However, it has now been confirmed this release includes all 8 episodes, and then obviously all their names, the Reality War, and the 2024 Christmas special, Joy to the World, plus special features. Now, of course, it is on the pricier side at around $59.99, of course. However, you will notice that, little sign by there, #1 best-selling in Steelbook. It is currently the #1 best-selling Steelbook in the UK at the moment. Also worth noting that 2 other Doctor Who Steelbook releases are also currently in the top 10, including The Savages and The War Games in Colour. And if you think it's just Steelbooks that Doctor Who charts in, that's not true. If you go to bestsellers in DVD and Blu-ray in general in the UK, it's currently 3rd, only behind the DVD release of Wicked and Dark City Limited Edition 4K Blu-ray. Now, it's worth noting that the Doctor Who Steelbook is considerably pricier than both of those as well. So yeah, seeing the Doctor Who Steelbook in both #1 position in Steelbooks and #3 position in overall DVD and Blu-rays, it just kind of shows that no matter how many times people want to tell you Doctor Who is a dead brand that no one cares about anymore, the reality is that there's still a huge base of Doctor Who fans that will buy stuff basically whenever it drops. Whenever a new Steelbook or a new Blu-ray drops onto Amazon, pretty much regardless of what it is, it always ends up in their top sellers. And also, in case you're curious, The Savages DVD also charts at 16th in overall DVDs and Blu-rays. But I just think it's really funny, this idea that, like, the BBC are going to cancel Doctor Who and, you know, there's no money in it whenever they drop a Steelbook or a Blu-ray, it's ultra successful. Obviously, it's worth noting that this is in the UK. I'm not actually sure how the DVD and Blu-ray stuff works elsewhere. I know America get it quite a bit later, and I imagine a lot of you guys probably import from the UK. But yeah, even still, very, very impressive stuff nonetheless. And just kind of shows that that whole Doctor Who is dead thing just kind of isn't really true when you look at things like this. Like, I mean, the series isn't even out yet, and it's already the best-selling Steelbook on Amazon at the moment. Like, you can't say much more than that, really. It just kind of speaks for itself. Another bit of evidence that Doctor Who's not dead, though, you might know of some kind of speculation and rumours floating around certain Doctor Who spaces that the 2023 TARDIS, the Badwell Studios TARDIS, the current TARDIS interior, had been dismantled. This had been making its way around a few of the more kind of right-leaning commentators on Doctor Who news, but Russell T Davies has confirmed officially on his Instagram account that no, this TARDIS set is very much still standing. He posted a picture inside the TARDIS interior, and someone asked him the question directly. They said, "To all those people who said the set was taken down, Russell, when was this taken?" To which he responds, "It's still standing, people lie, shrug emoji." So yeah, I mean, again, obviously you could say, oh, well maybe he's lying, but like, I don't really think he is. I think what he said is probably just accurate. They're not going to tear down the TARDIS if they're waiting to hear a response from Disney. And even if the response from Disney is not one that they want, they spent so much on that set that I can imagine if BBC picks it up, we'll probably get that set for many more years to come. I could totally see it ending up as like the kind of 80s console room set where it just kind of stays throughout multiple Doctors, owing to its sheer size and cost, and also, I guess, its kind of versatility. You know, you could just change the lighting for different Doctors. They did it for Smith and Capaldi with the 2013 console room as well. All you need to do is maybe add some more furniture in there as well, and you give the set a whole new flavour. So, yeah, I honestly don't think this set is going anywhere anytime soon, even if Disney do pull out of the deal, which, again, we still don't know yet, and we won't know until after Season 2. So anyone professing to know is not going to know until after Season 2. We also got a leaked Disney Plus trailer. Now, I tweeted this because I saw it on another Twitter account, but that Twitter account had me blocked, so I couldn't share it. But I don't actually know where this came from prior to that. If I had to guess, I would say maybe it was a trailer in between someone watching other things on Disney+, but I honestly don't know. If anyone else knows more details as to the origins of this trailer, let me know, feel free. But first, I'm going to give it a watch, and I'm also going to give you my thoughts on it as well.
I've been here before, and I met something. I've never been so scared in my life. Our entire reality is in danger.
Do you think you could stop it?
He cannot. No one can.
Run! Run! What are you?
Very cool. So this obviously seems more to revolve around particularly episode 5 by the looks of things, and kind of the more middle point of the series. Something I love about the vibe of this trailer is how much darker it feels, and this is something I've been loving about season 2 in general. As someone who felt season 1 was a bit too light and fluffy, I'm loving a bit more of the darkness of season 2. I really hope that that kind of permeates this season. Obviously, I'm not expecting it to be totally dark all the time. I expect episodes 1 and 2 to be relatively light, but going into kind of episode 3, 4, 5, I'm expecting things to get darker. There's a few interesting things I wanted to highlight in this trailer. First of all is this line.
I've been here before, and I met something. I've never been so scared in my life.
Now, there's a couple of things to this. First of all, the idea that the Doctor has been here before, and that he saw something, and he's never been so scared in all of his life. Now, a lot of people are relating this to a recent leak, which I'm actually not going to spoil here, because, quite frankly, as much as I normally do talk about leaks, we are so close to the actual series broadcasting at this point that to me, it just kind of feels redundant to talk about leaks this close to broadcast. If we were like months away, I probably would say it, but because we're so close, I think I will leave it for now. You can probably find the leaks elsewhere. I'm sure someone will probably comment them or share them somewhere, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to keep it relatively light on that. The only thing I will say, rather humorously, I did see some people on Gallifrey Base saying that I appear in episode 2, that I appear in Lux, and I can confidently say that that's not happening. Not that people will believe me, but I can assure you I'm not in it. I wish I was, that cartoon man looks sick, but no, I'm not in that episode, I'm afraid to say. Essentially, people are speculating that it's a big kind of return from the Doctor's past. The thing that has got me curious, though, is obviously, do you remember a while ago there was that speculation surrounding a fugitive Doctor return? My thinking is there something to that? Because obviously, he's been there before, and it terrified him. Maybe it's not something we've actually seen. I mean, it is noteworthy that Jo Martin has expressed multiple times that she is very, very keen to come back. And also, it's worth noting that if episode 5, which I'm assuming this is, judging by the costumes, is kind of delving a little bit into Black history, my kind of idea was, what better way to reflect that in the show than to actually, like, show a past life of the Doctor that was Black that he obviously doesn't remember very much of. Another thing people have pointed out, of course, is the crying, but personally, I don't mind that too much. This does look like a different episode, actually. This looks more like episode 1. Now I'm looking at it, judging by the costume. I know some people kind of bemoaned the crying, and I am of the opinion that I hope it happens less in this series, but I will wait to see the context as to why he's crying until I judge that. Because I think, in a lot of cases in Season 1, the reasons why he was crying were fine. It was just the regularity with which he did it, which kind of undercut some of the dramatic tension of it, I feel. Whether that's going to be the same this series, or whether it is going to be saved for more poignant moments, I'm not sure. But we'll just have to wait and see on that. But I don't necessarily think the Doctor crying is an inherently bad thing. I just think maybe not every episode. I do think it is good to show a man that can show emotions. I think that is a good thing. I just think there are other ways to do it beyond just crying. Does that make sense? But anyway.
Our entire reality is in danger.
So this is really interesting because I have no idea what this is. We get a shot of like a metal bloke in some sort of cage thing. It looks sick. It looks incredibly cool, I have to say. Really, really cool kind of makeup design here. I saw a lot of people speculating as to who this guy could be. I even saw a few people suggesting he was Omega. I'm going to put my head above the parapet and say I don't think that this is a returning villain. I think that there's one of two things. Either this is a main villain for one of the episodes, or this is just a similar scenario to what we had with Season Triad, where it's kind of a selection of different faces for some sort of reason. I'm hoping it's the former, because I think the design is really cool, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, though, I just love the tone of this being so much darker and more sci-fi than the previous series. I think that's a really, really good direction to take it. But then we get the shot of the Doctor looking very emotional in this kind of blue lighting. Again, but then we also get this shot of another actor in red, sort of fake frowning and kind of like mocking the Doctor in a way. I have no idea what this represents at all. Any ideas, let me know.
Think you could stop it.
I absolutely love this shot, by the way. This shot of the villain in Lucky Day, judging by the fact that it's a unit in the background there by the looks of things, and obviously that villain was also seen in the Lucky Day promo. I love how good this monster looks. Like, the prosthetics are absolutely insane, but also, obviously, this is Jonah Hua King, who, is it me, or does that cap, which says think tank, kind of give I don't know, almost like Elon Musk-y type of vibes. It's the only way I can describe it. That kind of arrogant tech guy who thinks he knows better than the professionals. And obviously I can imagine there'll be some indignation about that from some corners. But it's worth noting that this would have been filmed long before a lot of Elon Musk's recent activities. So this would actually be ahead of the curve. Yeah, we get a bunch of shots of them running. This, again, looks like Interstellar Song Contest, judging by the costume. I'm wondering what the sound vibrations are. I reckon it's something to do with the music in the episode, but we'll see. And then we get this shot. Now, I saw some people suggesting that these were weeping angels, but to be honest, I think they just look like regular mannequins. Maybe they're autons, but I do doubt it in this case. I think they're probably just mannequins in like a spooky looking room. I think. I could be wrong though.
No one can.
And like basically the Doctor can't stop it, no one can. Can nothing stop the end of everything. Kate Stewart there looking absolutely terrified by something. I don't know whether that's again in Lucky Day. I'm going to assume it is, judging by the eyes. Yeah, I think it is. And then we've got, I think, Interstellar Song Contest, again, maybe playing a bit with gravity.
Are you?
And then we get some shots of aliens and a what are you? And that wraps up yet another Disney trailer. Very, very good. I love how dark some of this series looks. I really hope that's reflected in the show itself. I have to say that with each day that goes by, the more and more excited I get by this series. I genuinely think it looks really good. I mean, it could not be good. It could be bad. But everything I've seen of it indicates the former. And I hope that that is the case. But what do you guys think about all the stuff I showed off today? If I didn't miss anything, apologies. But there's just so much information being flung out there now as we're really in the final 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, until Season 2 airs. So I'm going to try and keep on top of as much of it as I can, but if I do miss some stuff, my apologies. But thank you for watching, please like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.